It's a football Saturday in the SEC. Here is the starting lineup. The man with the golden voice, sports savant, Keefer. One of Birmingham's all-time most multi-talented, iconic broadcasters, Tony Curry. Four-time champion Paul Feinbaum show caller contributor, the legend. The illustrious First Lady of SEC football, Terry Quillian. Award-winning national sports handicapper from Las Vegas, Keefer. And now, let's talk football.
You like them, you love them, you can't live without them. It must be the starting lineup. Welcome back to another Saturday morning along with Kip Keefer, the legend who gets his own segment on the show. We just love having him on the couch. I'm Tony Curry. And of course, our matchup is set for the national championship game coming up January 20th on a Monday in Atlanta. Gentlemen, happy college football time. It's getting down near the end. The wick is almost lit. We're about ready to blow this thing up. Happy college football to you.
We're 11 days, Tony, from the championship game, and that's a long time. Let's see, 11, maybe only 9 or 10. I don't know. It's more than a week. But so we're going to have the opportunity to come back to next Saturday and give you an extensive preview. Didn't need to do that today. I wanted to kind of focus a little bit on what we saw this year, the good, the bad, and the ugly, if you will.
There was a lot of ugly, legend, was there not?
Man, there was a lot of ugly, including the Alabama Crimson Tide having losses to Oklahoma, to Michigan, to Vanderbilt. Does it get any uglier than that, T? Does it get any uglier? I mean, we're talking Jim from Tuscaloosa ugly right now.
It was ugly. It was ugly for the Auburn Tigers, too. I saw an interesting stat this morning. Hugh Freeze, the last 3 times he's played against Pavia, the Vanderbilt quarterback, he's lost.
Yeah.
He lost at Vanderbilt. He lost to Mexico State, of course, when he was at Auburn, and he lost again this season to a Vanderbilt quarterback. So there were some ugly games this year for
It's
sure.
really close, but Diego Pavia's actually won more games at Jordan-Hare than Peyton Thorne did.
That's
not a good thing.
Of course, we were all wondering what it was going to be like with no Nick Saban this year. And I will be the first to say that I think it was seamless. I think, obviously, for Alabama fans, it was not. For the first time since 2007, Bama didn't win double-digit games. They lose 4 games, and that's not going to happen. That's not going to work for the Crimson Tide. But pretty seamless change with the greatest college football coach of all time no longer on the sidelines, Kip.
Well, I think, and I'm really interested in hearing a legend comment because he was high on the DeBoer hire at first. You still had kind of he's going to have to show me, but you were giving him the benefit of the doubt that he certainly had the resume and appeared to have the demeanor to step in. But you guys know, in the history of sports or even major corporate politics or anything else, to be the guy to replace the guy. Yep. That's a tough thing, and it's not the easiest transition. So, I mean, Legend, I know you were absolutely appalled for them to follow up the game of the year against Georgia and get that win and get out of there with that victory. But then to go to Nashville the next week and have what happened shocked you and the entire Alabama nation.
Well, I was high on DeBoer for one reason, because college football is now a year in and year out adventure, and you need a coach that can build a roster in 1 year. And DeBoer already had a great roster. So I figure, here's a guy been to the national championship game with a great roster. This may work out. But in the end, going from Nick Saban to DeBoer was like being married to Beyonce and the next morning waking up married to Whoopi Goldberg. That's what it was like in the end. It was the ultimate ugly. I'm talking Charles from Real Town ugly. I'm talking
that is definitely going to bed at 10 with a 2, and we'll get up at 2 with a 10.
It was awful.
No, and I think the interesting thing about Kalen, too, is that, Jalen Milroe was supposed to be this quarterback. I know that Case had an early futures bet on him winning a Heisman Trophy. Yeah. After that Georgia game, he was certainly right there at 10. I think he was like 2-1 or something to win that. And he was supposed to not only be a great quarterback and kind of come into his own, but he was also supposed to be a leader on this football team, not just the offensive side, but the entire team. And I never saw that. I just saw him fall off a couple of times. I know he had some injuries late in the season, but there was really no leadership on that football team. And if you go back and look at the times that Alabama has not won championships, it's usually a lack of leadership.
There were some bad optics, too. In the Oklahoma game, I know you guys will remember this, there were too many shots on the bench when things were going bad of him sitting by himself and, playing with his hair or just kind of looking around. If you're the quarterback, you're the fiery leader of the team, you're over there with the offensive linemen, you're getting with your receivers, you're talking to coaches. You're not sitting at the end of the bench by yourself when you're down, 17-3 or whatever it was, and throwing interceptions. And I know it's difficult as much as these young men are dedicated to that sport and prepared, but that just sent the wrong message to everybody, I thought.
It really did. You go into this next season in 2025, and of course I thought it was so apropos and funny in that whenever there was a 4-team playoff, Alabama got in. Now there's a 12-team playoff, and they missed by the hair of the chinny chin chin. It's just amazing that it turned out that way. This is national championship or bust year for Crimson Tide. I cannot say it any louder. You know it. Every Alabama fan knows it. People up north and the Ohio State fans are like, "You're crazy." I'm just telling you. Unless you're playing for a national title, that may be enough in his second year, but you are there to win a national title year in and year out. Nick Saban did it almost every other year. This is Kalen's second year to get it done.
Well, I see something that's really hurtful as an Alabama fan. Next year's roster will be much less talented than the roster he had this year. He's looking at a bad situation. Already in the transfer portal, nowhere close to the top 10 and top 10 teams in the portal. He's not taking advantage of the portal. Deontay Lawson is back. Keon Sapp is back. Hollywood Williams is back. Bernard is back. But who's the quarterback? A lot of questions, T.
You can make the argument, too, that Dabo Swinney did it without the transfer portal. He backed in, losing, of course, the last game of the year against South Carolina, and, of course, having to have a little magic having that last week in the ACC. But they did play for not only the championship in a 12-team playoff without going in that transfer portal. But you're right, we used to give coaches 3 years. If you won a national title in your first or second year, it was because the cupboard was full from the guys the last coach brought in. Now you get 3 years to bring your own guys in because that's what it took to get, of course, all your recruits in. Now you don't get 3 years. You don't get 2 years. You get it now because you know what? You can go rob anybody at any time, any given place to go ahead and fill that roster, and that's what he probably starts to need to do.
Let's talk about the landscape and what a mess it is because I think I've mentioned it on this show. I know I talk about it on a lot of the shows I do, but somebody said, college football has become a professional football model. No, it hasn't. College football is not a professional football model. They have contracts and agreements and stipulated provisions of how that's going to work, how much you're going to get paid, how long you're going to commit to a certain team. College football players are free agents every minute of every day. We had a bunch of them quit after 3 weeks this year who weren't happy. Well, I'm not going to play a fourth game and burn a year of eligibility. I'm just going to sit out and transfer next year. College football players, the inmates are running the asylum here. There's no leadership from the upper levels. And until they get that addressed, I just think it's going to continue to be just completely the wild, wild west on steroids.
We had a football player transfer before the end of the football season, end up playing in a bowl game, and then transferred back to his original school right after the game was over. So he played a bowl game and got back. No, it's something, you're right. And you wonder, Nick Saban, a lot of people said, he got tired of all the riffraff and all the distractions and all the sides. And here you got Bill Belichick, a guy who's probably one of the greatest NFL coaches in the world. He wants to actually dabble in this. He wants to go to North Carolina and see what the hullabaloo is all about.
Be a mad professor.
Bill Belichick, the mad professor. How many years are they going to give him to get things right in North Carolina?
I think he's going to start building his own players like Frankenstein.
I just heard this morning Belichick has already signed 12 players in the transfer portal and several big-time recruits coming to Carolina. I think he sees it as a mini NFL game where he can go out and pull free agents in and implement a system where nobody will bother him. But a lot of noise out there that Tom Brady is now after him to be the Raiders head coach this season. So we'll see where Belichick ends up.
Yeah, people might not realize Tom Brady bought part ownership in the Raiders with Mark Davis, the son of the late Al Davis, and Brady's getting really active right away. They fired Coach Antonio Pierce earlier this week, so they've got an opening there, and With Tom Brady out recruiting some folks, I imagine they're going to get a pretty high caliber coach.
With just about a minute left, let's talk about the FSU fan base. They win 2 games on the year, because that makes all of us feel
Speaking
a lot better.
of the ugly.
You got a coach, of course, who was 13-0, doesn't. Yeah, you got a coach who goes 13-0, doesn't make the playoffs, and then the next season absolutely lays an egg. What's good for the FSU, and can they flip that around quickly?
I think it's a real bad situation there.
I have more hope for UAB. Come on, Blake.
As you should.
I have more hope for UAB.
I think it's the ultimate cautionary tale. We've seen a lot of mass. Lane Kiffin definitely improved his defense this year by getting a bunch of guys out in the portal. He had 9 starters come out of the portal for his defense. We've seen some other teams that really did well, but Florida State is the ultimate dumpster fire where it didn't go well. They were a bunch of mercenaries and didn't play together as a team.
We got one more Saturday before the national championship game. We'll go full NC next Saturday, 10:30, 11 o'clock, right here on the starting lineup.
Step back into the groove and then into the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
Check this out. It's all happening here.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino is the local place to win.
Good times right here.
Let the Birmingham Racecourse Casino bring the good times to you. The Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where the good times roll.
Where you could be a winner too. Yeah, boy.
If you haven't been to the Birmingham Racecourse Casino lately or ever, you really need to check it out. It is happening over on John Rogers Drive. I second Jimmy Walker's emotion. Check it out. And it is dynamite. I'm allowed to say that. And I really want you to go with the idea that this is a great, clean, safe, exciting place to have an evening of entertainment. It is absolutely blowing up. Great plans coming up for the year ahead. And if you have not taken advantage of coming over to Derby Parkway just off I-459 and checking out a night of great entertainment, we've still got the full-scale simulcasting from horse tracks and the few Greyhound tracks that are still out there. It is an action center. I've always called it the action capital of the South. Nothing has changed. The Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Give it a look and get out there for a great night of fun and excitement.
Step back into the groove and then into the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
Check this out. It's all happening here.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino is the local place to win.
Good times right here.
Let the Birmingham Racecourse Casino bring the good times to you. The Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where the good times roll.
Where you could be a winner too. Yeah, boy.
Oh, welcome to the Legend Cave on a cold, cold Saturday morning. I hope you're warm out there. I hope you're taking care of each other. Watch out for each other this weekend. We still remembering the victims down in New Orleans, praying for them. And I encourage everybody out there to look out for your neighbor. Look out for each other. We love sports. We love America. We love this country. Look out for each other this weekend. Here in the Legend Cave, we're always looking out for each other. The great Monty Bauer, Kip Keefer, Tony Curry and the Legend every Saturday getting down for you. And I got my best bets here in the Legend Cave. I talked to David Legend this week, and David Legend has been on fire down in Walker County. And we appreciate Walker County and the many people that have reached out to me, have watched the show, has loved the show. We thank you. But David Legend this week, he told me he thinks Tony Curry is absolutely right. He likes the San Diego Chargers minus them 3 points. He is a big Justin Herbert fan. Justin Herbert, only 4 interceptions, ladies and gentlemen, all year long. Can you believe it? We're riding with them Chargers minus 3 points. We like the Bills minus 8.5. We don't like Bo Nix. We don't like Auburn. We hope Bo Nix gets beat by 80. That's the way it is. And we like those Minnesota Vikings minus 1. Those are the Legend Brothers' best bets. Now let's talk about that Alabama Crimson Tide basketball team. Our football team let us down this year. We know the story. Just walked out on the tradition. Just forgot everything. Man, they forgot it all. But thank God for Nate Oates and that Alabama Crimson Tide basketball team. It is special. I'm talking about national championship special. But the problem is Auburn has their best team ever too. Could you imagine an Auburn and Alabama national championship game? And college basketball, could you believe it? I can believe it. Nate Oates has it going on down there with Mark Sears, LeBron Theon. I mean, they got it going on. Got it going on down there. Support the team. Look out for it. Great day to be a sports fan. Great day to be an Alabama Crimson Tide fan. A great day here on the starting lineup. Just get in, get your popcorn ready. It's a crazy Saturday. College football, NBA, NFL, it's everything. And remember, as always here in the Legend Cave, remember it's just a game. Don't be like Legend. Sports insane.
It all started with a 9-0 Saturday last season. Kai Gregory came in here from Southern Precision Staffing and blew the doors off, and then he goes 5-0 the next week. He was unbelievable. And then, of course, that turned into a great podcast called K4Wins.com. We'll talk about that in a second. But Southern Precision Staffing, for all your staffing needs, construction, or anything else, they're the best. 205-682-2828, 205-682-2828, right here in Hoover, Alabama, serving the United States of America, just like this show does. When you watch us online, you can see us anywhere, anytime you want to. It's unbelievable. 205-682-2828. Your word and your handshake still means something. Also want to thank the fine folks at Sasquatch Toys and Comics down there in beautiful Homewood. Seth's got Ed's Pet World. He's still got that thing going on, but Sasquatch Toys and Comics, stuff still in the box, comics from the 60s, 70s, and 80s and more. And, of course, the Woodhouse Day Spa, Stuart Rome, our good friend down there in the Summit area. He is blowing the doors off with all these great gift cards. Check out the wonderful Woodhouse Day Spa. Birmingham.woodhousespas.com, Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Finally, go to K4Wins.com. You'll see Kip Keefer, you'll see Tony Curry, Case Keefer, and Kai Gregory giving you the best bets every single day. Everything from soccer to NFL to college football, of course, college hoops and more. K4Wins.com, K4Wins.com for all your free winners.
We've got great information on the NFL Wildcard weekend coming up, and on K4 Wins, we'll have complete coverage on that. And if you also want some other resources for all of your sports knowledge, it is Jocks 94.5, our doubleheader every weekend of fantastic shows. I hope you caught us this morning, Saturday, 8 to 10, Kip and Terry game time. And then tomorrow morning, the longest running sports show in the Birmingham market. It is the morning after from 9 to 11. We give you the opportunity every week to weigh in on what you see on the field or now on the court every Saturday. You don't have to wait till Monday. You can talk about everything you want to know and listen to our opinions. Saturday, Kip and Terry game time. Sunday, the morning after. That goes with the starting lineup. As far as sports knowledge and information, we have got you covered.
Hey, it's Case Keefer, Assistant Sports Editor at Greenspun Media, which includes Las Vegas Sun and Las Vegas Weekly. Longtime sports bettor and sports betting writer, back again for the Vegas Heater segment. I know it's kind of a weird week for the show because at the time of recording, we don't have the college football playoff national championship matchup nailed down. College football kind of been the bread and butter of the starting lineup all year. But that's the great thing about this segment. It is betting, and betting goes on no matter what. There's always something to bet on if you want to put in the work and deal with the swings. So last week we talked mostly about golf and NFL. I think that's what we're going to do again today. And we're coming off a winning week for the first time in a while. Unfortunately, we had been 500 2 weeks in a row and had a slight losing week before that. But last week, 2-1 on the Vegas Heaters. I gave out 3 NFL plays. The Steelers squeak past the plus 2.5 in a 1917 loss to the Bengals. The Chargers cover easily and obviously whiffed on the Vikings in that big Sunday night game against the Lions. We'll have 3 more NFL plays at the end of this. Also, we went 1-1 otherwise on the show with a couple futures. But that's the good thing about betting plus money. You go 1-1, you're making a nice profit. So we had Montana State plus 180 to win the FCS. Obviously didn't happen. Their comeback couldn't be completed. North Dakota State holds them off. But also the same price, plus 180, Notre Dame to reach the college football playoff semifinals from a couple weeks ago. That one was easy. The Irish did exactly what we thought they would do, and hopefully you cashed in on that. I gotta say, I do feel a little bit bad about that one here on the show, though. I came into the year really high on Georgia. I think before kickoff, I said, even though they're the favorite, I think that was the only value where there was on the national championship odds. I thought they were going to be the best team. I was on them week 1 against Clemson, but after that, I do have to give myself a little bit of credit. I really backed off, especially if you were reading my stuff at LasVegasSun.com, maybe checking out our show on K4 Wins. And even here, I picked against Georgia a lot. It did kind of make me feel bad as our fearless leader, the starting lineup head, Kip Keefer, obviously a huge Georgia fan. And hey, I grew up a Georgia fan too. I still root for them when I can, but betting is my first allegiance now. And I just saw some holes in this team all year. Luckily, did cash on them in the SEC championship game too. But I think you saw some of those things crop up again in the Notre Dame loss. But all of this is to say I'm extending an olive branch this week because I am heavily on Georgia actually this week. And I say, oh, how can that be? What sport are you talking about? Not even college basketball. I'm talking golf, where we are in the second PGA Tour event of the year at Waialae in Honolulu, the Sony Open. That course has a strong correlation to the RSM Classic course, the seaside courses on St. Simon's Island in Georgia, where what on the PGA Tour is called the Georgia Mafia guys all live, where all those guys, most of them UGA graduates, live and play. And I like a lot of them this week. I think I bet 3 of them outright going into the tournament. Russell Henley, Sepp Straka, and JT Poston, who I think Poston didn't actually go to Georgia, but grew up there, I think went to school in North Carolina. I like all those guys on this course that is Bermuda grass, going to reward driving accuracy. They've done well at correlated courses. Like I said, I know this is kind of weird as we're going to be in like round 3 by the time you're watching this, but we did it a couple times last year and it worked out okay. Golf is one of my specialties, and you can bet so easily these days live that maybe you see one of these guys I like is a stroke or 2 back. Hopefully not the leaders, then you're not going to get a great price and you can jump in live. That's some of what I'm looking at right now in the Sony Open. Another guy, non-Georgia guy, I like Tom Kim at the top of the odds board. So Kim and Henley, my 2 guys that are kind of among the favorites. All right, I made you wait, so I know you want to get to the NFL. We've had so much success futures-wise on the show, especially last year, NBA Finals, Stanley Cup Final. I mean, we crushed everything. Golf, we've done well. And I have a future I like in the NFL, starting with the playoffs too. Hopefully you've been reading LasVegasSun.com, as I gave out much better prices like a month ago before they really took off. But I love the Baltimore Ravens. I think there's like a stigma around this team because Lamar Jackson hasn't got it done in the playoffs yet. But we hear this all the time. These are why teams are undervalued, as people don't want to get behind them. He's played, 6 games, 2-4. I kind of throw that out the window. I think it's going to come through one of these years, and they are just off the charts in terms of efficiency. The defense has gotten better now. The offense is one of the best in NFL history. The best numbers I've seen right now, plus 650 to win the Super Bowl, plus 350 to win the AFC. I think I would take that down to 6 or 3-1. The bottom line is Baltimore is not going to be an underdog in these playoffs. I know that sounds strange, and maybe if something crazy happened, they could be an underdog at Buffalo in a potential round 2 matchup. They're not going to be an underdog at Kansas City. I know that's a monkey they have to get off their back, but I really like Baltimore. I think the NFC is wide open. I expect Baltimore to come out of the AFC. So with that, 3 picks for this weekend. Obviously, I just sung the Ravens' praises, so let's lay 9.5 with them against the Steelers. We're getting a little bit up there. I probably wouldn't quite push it to 10. I think the Steelers are a little undervalued now with that just hellacious end-of-season schedule, but I wish they would have drawn a better matchup. They really needed one more win to get to Houston. I just think Baltimore is rolling too much right now, so Baltimore minus 9.5 for a big underdog. I like Denver plus 9 at Buffalo. I think the Broncos are another team that's gotten so much better towards the end of the season. The offense is almost on the same level as the defense now. I made this more around 7, so I think 9 is too much. The other rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels, I don't have as high of an outlook on his team. I just don't really trust the Washington defense. I think you're getting a little bit of a discount on Tampa because they've looked a little rough the last couple weeks, but I think they throw all over this Washington defense. So Tampa minus 3, Baltimore minus 9.5, and Denver plus 9. Those are the Vegas heaters for NFL playoffs. Thanks for checking out this segment again.
Welcome back. Starting lineup. The national championship game is set. We will break it down. Nothing will be uncovered. Coming up next Saturday morning, 10:30, 11 o'clock, right here on ABC 3340. And now we get ready for an incredible NFL playoff season. It is Wildcard Saturday.
Oh,
baby.
Man, it's going to be great. And there's even games Monday. So
yeah,
we've got the weekend covered. We can watch NFL Wildcard football all week. Tony, Who do you like? Give us some info.
Jumping out a couple things. Not a big Harbaugh fan, but the last time Jim Harbaugh played at NRG, he had just won a national title with Michigan. So he's going back there to take on the Texans. He's going back there to take on Houston. Like the Chargers, giving up 3 in that game. Of course, they've given up an NFL best 301 points on the season. No one's talking about the Chargers defense. That defense is filthy good. The Ravens have won 4 in a row. Pittsburgh's lost 4 in a row. I love Tom, but man, that team is lost right now. They cannot score points. I'm loving the Ravens minus the 9.5. I think they get it done. This is Lamar Jackson's NFL playoff season MVP year, and he'll play like it coming up. And also the Bills 8-0 at home. Of course, those crazy guys that they're playing are 4-5 on the road as well. Denver Broncos. I've been a good friend of Bo Nix, and I'm, of course, a fan of his as well. But I think being on the road at the Bills, 8-0. I like the Bills giving up 8.5. You got the Eagles-Packers game coming up. You got the Commanders. I mean, you got some great games going on in the National Football League this weekend.
I'm on board with the Commanders.
There you go.
They're playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't think the Buccaneers are really a legitimate playoff team. I think that division pretty substandard. I give a lot of credit to Baker Mayfield for what he's managed to do, but I think this Commanders team is dangerous.
I think they really are too.
I really think they play well on both sides of the ball, and Jaden Daniels is dynamic, so I like them.
They won 5 games in a row.
Yeah, they've been playing fantastic football, and nobody saw that coming.
No.
The Eagles have been on a mission this year. That's probably the best game of the potential matchups because the Packers are formidable. They've got a lot of weapons, and Jordan Love has really come into his own. But I feel like the Eagles are not going to let this slip away, especially in the first round. Give me Philly. And I also really like, and we don't know where this game's going to be played because of all the fires that are happening in California. The decision will probably be made by this morning, but the game possibly could be in Phoenix. But if it's in LA, no matter where it is, I think the Vikings are better than the Rams. A lot of people watched that Sunday night game the other night and saw the Lions pull away from Minnesota, but the Vikings really blew some chances inside the 5-yard line, going for touchdowns instead of field goals. I thought that was the wrong strategy. I like this Vikings team, Tony.
Vikings team's playing fantastic, and of course another team that no one's really talking about. I mean, they're sitting there with 13-3 going into the last weekend of the season.
Pretty good.
And, I would say so, and that was a fantastic Sunday night game. Please give us those Sunday night games every single week. Absolutely love it. Next Saturday, we're breaking down the national championship game, top to bottom, 10:30, 11 o'clock on ABC 3340. It's going to be unbelievable, and of course, more NFL action. If you need to get our plays, you don't want to go back and watch the whole show again, which you probably should. You can watch us on our YouTube channel. Of course, the starting lineup. Check it out. Go to K4Wins.com, K4Wins.com, K4Wins.com for all of our plays, including, of course, your son. He is the chief editor at the Las Vegas Sun, does a fantastic job. This is what he does for a living.
And he gets into NFL playoffs.
No,
this is his red meat.
He gets out of bed in the morning with his underwear hanging out his shoe and goes straight to the window. Then comes back and takes a whiz and eats his breakfast. I like it. He puts a bed in before he uses the bathroom, which I absolutely love. So check it out. The starting lineup. Back at you next Saturday morning. Enjoy your weekend of great football action right here with the starting lineup.
Step back into the groove and then into the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
Check this out. It's all happening here.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino is the local place to win.
Good times right here.
Let the Birmingham Racecourse Casino bring the good times to you. The Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where the good times roll.
Where you could be a winner too. Yeah, boy.